But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
Which is the first commandment of all?
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might, and with all thy strength. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Master, thou hast said the truth. There is one God, and none other but He. And to love Him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, and with all the soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more than all the whole burnt offerings and sacrifices.
Thou art not far from the kingdom of God.
Yeah, hey guys, yeah, how you doing? Good to see you, Barry. Just popped in there. Good to see you, Luca, and good to see you, Jim. I think that's all that's in at the minute. Yeah, sorry, Luca, about today. Just not feeling up to it at all. I don't feel like talking much either. So I've just got to do a watch party today. Vicky's behind me sleeping and sleeping and puking. Well, not puking right now, but she's sleeping. She's not feeling very well either, so she's just sleeping. She can sleep loads. I can't. But yeah, no, Luca will be on Flats, but I doubt I'll be saying much. I just seen Flats had a premiere. I didn't even have a clue about that. I just caught the end of it, and I did kind of try and grab your attention at the end there, Jim, just to let you know that I was doing a watch party instead of the Luca thing, you know. But yeah, Luca, we'll do that on Tuesday. But I've set it for my 2 p.m. So it's easier that time because it'll be easier for you then. It's 11 p.m. Because I was thinking the later I did, the better it is for you, but it's not. Obviously, it's like the earlier I am, the better it is for you. I think in the afternoon anyway. You know.
Congratulate Jim on his.
Oh yeah, Vicky said. Vicky just woke up. There. Can you congratulate Jim on your 7,000 odd views on that? Which number was it? Well, he knows.
I can't remember.
He knows the one. Yeah, I wonder why you got so many views, dude.
And I was on it last night watching, and I commented.
Yeah.
And while I was commenting, it went up to 51.
Which is 7,151 it went up to.
No, subs.
Oh, subs. Oh, subs. You're 51 subs. But that you've got loads of views on that one observation. I can't remember which one it was. Well, you know which one it is. It's the 7,000 one.
Smashing it.
Wonder why he's got so many views. Because it's very similar to the rest of them. Why ain't the rest of them got that many views? It must be the number on it. Maybe certain people put that number into YouTube. Maybe I don't know.
It must correlate to the start. The number.
It must correlate to the start. Yeah, of course.
But no, smashing it.
Was 52 subs, but he dropped one. Okay.
Oh, I do that all the time, Jim.
Do you know something? I think it's just YouTube. Look, I mean, yesterday I was on 326 or something, but then later on I looked and it was 325, and I went back on, it was 326. Yeah, now it's 328. So I've no idea how they do it, man. No idea how they do it. But yeah, Luca, you'd like to say you're welcome here, man. And I'm sorry about it. I'm not trying to mess you about, dude. I just don't feel like using my brain much, to be honest. And Sergio was going to come and help as well. Sergio said, if you need a hand, give me a shout. I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. But I've just had to tell him that I'm not doing it. But yeah, I've set it for Tuesday, Luca, because yeah, Tuesday is the best time I can do it after I go to my chemist, get my medication and all that stuff. But yeah, not trying to mess you about, Luca. So yeah, at the same time, I'd rather have just chilled and not gone live. But then I thought, no, I ain't been live already. I need to go live a little bit. But so I've kind of compromised. I'll go live and just have a watch party, so I don't have to say much. You know what I mean? So it's about the Oh, Long for Truth again, Daniel Long. I did one last week about, you'll recognize it once you see him. And it's on the NAR, Boogeyman or Real Threat. NAR means the New Apostolic Reformation, just in case anybody doesn't know, which they're kind of hyper charismatic and think they're apostles, obviously. Hence the name New Apostolic Reformation. They think they're apostles. They think it's their new apostles. That's hence the name New Apostolic Reformation. Just silly man. There you go, Luca. Anus for 50. Yeah, nice. How many? Luca's got a few subs now, isn't he? Though. How many's Luca got? Go to the channel. Luca's got 50 on the dot. Yeah. Is that what you were saying? Oh, okay. Luca's got 50 on the dot. Nice.
I've got 87.
Vicky's got 87. Yeah, Roger's going up really quick. Roger's the one that's going up quickly. I mean, he's about, well, no, he's less than half of what I've got, but I've been doing it for like 6 months now, maybe a bit more, I don't know. I don't know how long I've been going for. I mean, I've got 205 videos or something like that, so I don't know. Not sure.
Roger's got 133.
133 subs. 133. So he's 190 odd less than me. He's going up quite quickly. He's going up really quickly. Yeah. That's what he gets for hijacking everybody's streams. Yeah, it's all good. I think we should all be doing that a little bit. Disclaw's been doing it lately as well. Like streaming our streams.
The video Jim got, he's got 7.2 thousand views now.
7.2 thousand.
It's 5508.
5508. Okay. Cool. We might do some of these observations at the end of this because I guess he's put more up.
Yeah.
Actually, let's have a quick look, see what's put up. $51 subs, yeah. Oh yeah, yes you have. You've got Roger's flyby. Oh wow, you've got a lot more. Wow, I've got so many to catch up on. All right, that's cool. We can do that. Give me things to use and streams. Cool.
Not just that, he gets more subs than that.
Oh, absolutely.
He said, because I commented on one of his videos and said, congratulations.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, it's you and PJ getting me the subs, and I'm like, no, it's you, because people want to see what you're doing. Yeah,
Luca, you are able to stream. You're able to stream anytime, but 50 for your phone, I think. You're able to stream off your phone now with 50, I think. And you should be able to do community posts. A 24-hour endurance stream. Dude, you're wow. The most I've done is 5 hours, dude, and that does take out, yeah. I done 5 hours on mine, but we did 7-8 hours on Flatsoids doing that Veritas thing. That was a mission. I remember when I first did 4 hours, that was a mission. But when you're doing your own stream, sometimes you don't realize the time. So 5 hours can go by quite quickly. But 24 hours, dude, you've got to have a lot to speak about. You know what I mean? Or you just do a load of watch parties, you know what I mean? Watch stuff, I don't know.
He said I'd probably only have 3 subs if it weren't for you, VJ. Thank you, you rock.
Cheers, bro.
They're here to watch your observations. You can go live on your phone now with 50 subs.
Yep. And Luca said that about 50 subs.
No, but I said it to Jim.
Oh, I see. All right.
In his comments.
Hey, Luca, you could have gone live at any time on your computer. It's just your phone you needed 50 subs for. You could have gone live at any time from your computer, though. Once upon a time, it used to be 1,000 subs for everything before you could go live, before you could use your phone and everything. It's crazy. Anyway, how many is he at? 6. Well, not many today. What time is it?
It's quality, not quantity.
Yeah, I know. You didn't know that. I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's like that. It's Saturday, isn't it? Sometimes on a Saturday, I start off really slow, and then it ends up with a few people. But anyway, well, yeah, let's watch this. It's Daniel Long, you'll recognize him when I put him up. What is it I did with him? I did the Catherine Coleman thing with him, and the Catherine Crick, I think it was. Yeah.
Stavely does go long sometimes.
Sorry?
But Barry said Stavely goes long sometimes. When Lucas said about doing a 24-hour.
Oh yeah, he does go long. Stavely, that's like standard for Stavely though. I mean, 5 hours is a short stream for Stavely, I think. You know, but he doesn't do it so much now because I think he's trying to quit YouTube, isn't he? Don't know. Anyway, let's try. I mean, let's get this up.
Do you know I'm not
quotation marks around NAR?
Say again, babe.
I'm not subscribed to Luca
Yeah, I know you know.
because I don't like the things in his comments.
I know. You don't have to justify it. I'm subscribed to him. I know you don't like the people in his comments. That's why you're not subscribed. I know. I don't like them. I don't like Andrew Johnson. I don't like. I seen that when I left Luca a message the other day. There was Andrew Johnson. Who was the other one? No, Richie was there, and the other one.
AA.
No. No.
Stephen Jarvis.
Stephen Jarvis, yeah. That one.
Abandoned the other day.
Oh, he's an idiot. All idiots.
And why do you keep promoting NAR wolves? Okay, so let's set the record straight. If you want truth, you're going to get truth. I use NAR in quotes because there is the real NAR, the New Apostolic Reformation, that was spearheaded by Peter Wagner and continues to this day.
But there's no such thing as real NAR because there's no such thing as new apostles. You know what I mean? So there shouldn't be such a new thing as the NAR. Silly. It's like the Seven Mountains or Reformation and all that kind of stuff. Silly.
And there is the false NAR, which is largely the NAR of the critics, which groups together all kinds of disparate, unrelated, charismatic movements, ideologies, abuses, and mixes them all together in one as the Boogeyman. And that simply does not exist.
Our core definition of NAR, which we've mentioned a couple of times, but the teaching that the church must be governed by present-day apostles and prophets. And there's two things that go along with that. They claim to bring new revelation the church requires to advance God's kingdom. And
yeah, sorry guys, I won't be talking much anyway. So it's more of a watch party. I dare say I'll put my little pennants in here and there, but this time I really won't be talking much. I say that often and I end up talking a lot, but I will not be talking much.
And that they claim to possess authority that's extraordinary. And we don't mean that they necessarily say, I possess extraordinary authority. The truth is that the authority they claim to have is in fact extraordinary, the authority they claim to exercise. So to those 2 points that they claim to have authority.
Yeah, they say that. They're saying that to cover their backs, but they think themselves extraordinary. They think themselves God, and they think they've got the same power as Jesus. When it's Jesus, if anything's done through a person, it's Jesus, it's the Holy Spirit, it's doing it, you know?
That's extraordinary, or to exercise this extraordinary authority, and their new revelation, that they claim to bring new revelation that advances God's kingdom. Each of those points is taught explicitly by today's apostles. You mentioned Cheon in his book Modern Day Apostles, which is endorsed, and Bill Johnson wrote the foreword, but is endorsed by Bill Johnson, James Gall, Lou Engle, among others, which would seem to reflect not, when you endorse a book, it doesn't necessarily mean you agree with everything in the book, right? But it would be a general agreement with the outlook of the book. And in that book, specifically says, there's a chapter titled Apostles Have Extraordinary Authority. That's the title. And then he talks in the book about they have the authority to wage spiritual warfare. When it comes to spiritual warfare, he says apostles are the generals in the army. They have authority to make apostolic decrees, including decrees that, to affect the weather. And he tells two stories. Tells a story in 2002 when he was in Seoul, South Korea at a stadium event. He said Lou Engle told him to make an apostolic decree to stop the rain, which he did, and he believed that worked. And then in 2013, he said Cindy Jacobs told him to make an apostolic decree for it to rain in Colorado so that a terrible fire would be extinguished. So authority to wage spiritual warfare, make apostolic decrees, work miracles that pastors can't work. On talks about that in his book, but also Chris Vallotton says miracles happen in pastorates.
Chris Vallotton, wow. I think he's the one that uses his tablet a lot. I say this a lot, but it's not. Somebody else, it's maybe Perry. That's Perry's doing, isn't it? Can't remember. But they all bloody use them anyway. Never use the Bibles and that. They just use it for information of people from social media. But it's more Perry's doing it, does that, I think.
But they are infrequent and inconsistent.
This is what happens when you look under the hood. Otherwise,
But that's not under the hood to me. That's all open.
Okay, no. Here's what I mean by this.
Just want to check and see if Daniel Long's in it.
But
Oh, it does. Hold on, this is strange. The Daniel Long is usually in these, but it seems to be a little bit with him in it. So, and it's on his channel. That's strange.
but
What bit?
you know that song you and Michael had on your streams with the father and son?
Yeah.
So Barry's had that on his channel for 4 years.
Has he?
Yeah.
Maybe that's where he got it from. Oh, this is strange. Okay. So he is talking there. Okay, all right,
Look
okay.
on Barry's channel, he's got loads.
I will. But anyway.
What I mean by this. Earlier, you didn't allude to any of these things as activities of a modern day apostle. I asked you, so what is the proper conception of a modern day apostle? And it was very general and very euphemistic.
There's no such thing. To be an apostle, you had to meet Christ. And nobody today has met Christ. We have a relationship with Christ, through the Holy Spirit, but we haven't met Christ as the physical person, Christ,
Relative to
that walked here on the earth, you know? What's that? Well, a 24-hour live stream means that no matter where people are on earth, they will be able to watch it. Well, that's true, Luke. That's true. That's good thinking. That's good thinking.
this and non-specific. Birthing movements, planting churches, language we use too with regard to the New Testament.
I said, oh crap, I didn't know I had anything on my channel.
Focus of apostleship. But now we bring up, let's lift the hood and see what are the specific activities involved in birthing these movements and giving leadership and so forth. And it's this, and it's pretty.
No, Bobby, it's a playlist you've got on, so you might not have it downloaded. It's just a playlist, so it might just be a playlist of music because you can put playlists on your channel without downloading them, can't you? So it might just be that, Barry. I don't know.
Michael saw it on Airborne Saints channel.
Huh?
The song, Michael saw it on Airborne Saints channel.
Oh, Airborne Saints. Got you.
Radical stuff about, what
Oh, hey, Michael.
you can do with angels and mandates and decrees and all of this, and you haven't mentioned any of that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Long for Truth. My name is Daniel Long. Holly Pivik and Doug Geivett are both experts on the topic of the New Apostolic Reformation, and they have written several books about that.
Hi, Michael. It was meant to be the Luca thing today, but I've postponed that to Tuesday because Vicky's still not very well. I'm not very well, so I don't want to talk much and think much. So I just put on that watch party for today. You know what I mean? And we'll do Luca's on Tuesday. It's already up there. I changed for Tuesday.
That topic, including this one, Counterfeit Kingdom. If you have not got this book, you need to get it. It's an excellent resource. Now, about a month or so ago, the American Gospel YouTube channel put out a video called NAR Myth or Movement. It was a roundtable discussion with Dr. Michael Brown, Holly Pivik, and Doug Geivett. And so I thought it would be really helpful to invite both Holly and Doug on the show.
It's got to be a bug, Michael. I mean, I don't know what I believe with the germ model and all that and the viral model, but there's got to be something got to be able to pass on illness. You know what I'm saying? So, because you know it yourself, when you're in the vicinity of somebody that's ill, you get ill. You know what I mean? In general. So it's got to be a bug, dude. It's got to be a bug. If you're not feeling well yourself, it's got to be a bug. Because, I mean, I have seen a few people who's not feeling very well or looking very well, to be honest. I mean, I'm pale blue, but I feel even, Vicky said to me yesterday, she's just sort of translucent. I said, what, you trying to say I'm like a jellyfish? I can see through you. Like, I'm pale blue, not bloody translucent.
show today to talk about that roundtable discussion, because Dr. Michael Brown constantly denies the existence of the NAR. And so it is my honor and privilege to welcome both Holly and Doug. Now, I will also...
That's a good thought. That's a good point, though, Michael. It could be the plane trails. It could be. Because we don't know what the hell they're dropping on us, man. And that's not being paranoid, Luca, by the way. I know you don't believe in chemtrails, but there is such thing as chemtrails. You can see the difference between chem and con. Not that any of them are good for you, but you can see the difference.
Make sure that I put their resources down in the YouTube description.
Pea jelly. I've already had that peanut butter jelly time. Pea jelly.
Everywhere you can find them. Holly has a YouTube channel that you absolutely need to subscribe to, so go over there and do that. But let me introduce my guests, Holly and Doug. Holly, Doug, thank you guys so much for being...
It's a crying face for Luca.
Hey,
Yes?
just come on Lucas in his comments.
Yeah.
And Andrew Johnson put there right. The reason you come on their shows is to derail their ability to talk nonsense unhindered. He put, yeah, absolutely correct, Luca said.
Oh, Luca.
So you can fuck off.
Luca, come on. I can't believe you said that to who?
Luca, you can fuck off.
Babe, he probably just said that because it's them.
I don't
It
care.
doesn't matter. Chill. Bloody hell. He says you come. So you do come on to derail. You said that in your comment section, Luca. You said that to who?
Andrew Johnson.
Andrew Johnson. Apparently you do come on to derail. You said it to Andrew Johnson said it to you, and you said, yeah, absolutely. So there you go. Luca does come on to derail, guys. But we knew that anyway.
on the program.
Thanks for asking us, Daniel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great to get back together with you.
It was a joke. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
hilarious.
But well, if it's a joke, how come it keeps happening? I mean, I'm fine with Luca. We already know you. I already think you do that anyway. I don't think you're a bad dude at all. But I mean, it's always derailed. I mean, not always, not lately, to be honest. But in the past, it was always derailed because of you. It doesn't bother me, Luca, because I know what side you're on. It doesn't mean to say I think any less of you, to be honest. But I do know that you used to come on to derail anyway.
Andrew Johnson, I've just watched a bit of PJ show and he's saying that your avatar is a demon. It's bizarre. He's acting like he's your father, scolding you. You shouldn't be treated like that. Yeah, it's not even close to a demon.
Oh, for goodness sake. Yes, it looks like a demon to me. So Andrew Johnson is saying I'm acting like your father. Oh, why do you listen to these people? Wow. He said what about the demon thing? After he said I'm acting like a father?
It's bizarre.
It's bizarre. Well, but because they are, do you know why? Because they've got no faith, they've got no belief in God, they've got no relationship with God, so they don't understand the demon thing. That's so it's not bizarre. It's not bizarre at all. It's actually quite normal in the Christian creed, I suppose you could call it. It's normal to be to know that there's demons exist. Biblically, scripturally, it's there. I've seen people demon manifesting, seen people talking like demons. I've smelt things coming out of people that is demonic. You know, demons are real. So tell Andrew Johnson to shut his mouth. He's an idiot. So Andrew Johnson, if you see this, you're an absolute idiot, especially trying to verbatim copy out every single word I said in that interview. That is the obsessive part. I am small channel. Babe, I'm talking. I'm a small channel, and you're coming after me. Yeah, fine, Andrew Johnson. You're a friggin' idiot, an absolute imbecile. You know what I mean? It's just nothing but fruity towards people. It's an abomination to God what you are, Andrew Johnson. What bit?
He's a gay little bitch.
Well, that as well. There you go, PJ. And if the chat wasn't on the Uncle Algo, it is now. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, I'm okay with Luca. What's he meant to say to these people if they do come on? You've got to remember, he's on the same team as them. If he's only a young lad, if they come in and say this and that to him, what's he meant to say, babe? Come on. It's peer pressure as well. You know what I mean? I understand that. I get where you're coming from, babe, but you've got to remember that peer pressure by him. He comes to us and talks to us, and then he's getting shit from them for talking to us.
No, he's not though, because they're on his ass.
Well, you know what I mean, babe.
It's just a fucking sick little game, and I don't
Well,
get
of
it.
course it is, but Lucas is a young man. Just chill with him, please. You keep forgiving him, then you keep saying,
Yeah, but
forget him.
there's always something else.
He says it was a joke. If he says it was a joke, you've got to believe him, babe. You've got to take it as that. You know what I mean? He's not like Andrew in that. I know he does do real shows, but he's definitely not the same as Andrew and Aaron Armstrong and that. Luke is not.
Comments may say different.
Yes, the comments may so, but come on, Luke is not the same as them. Luke is not the same as them. No, it's not. She doesn't like you. She's just pissed off with seeing all them kind of things, Luca. Vicky's very passionate when it comes to things, and she's off the cuff. If she sees it, then she'll react. You know what I mean?
No, because you come here and act like everyone's your friend.
But it's fine, babe.
And then you go and backstab them. And
But how long? When did he say that? When did he say that?
2 months ago.
Well, that's 2 months ago.
So?
Well, but babe, since then we've been okay with him, so you can't go and say something, pick something up from 2 months ago when we was.
No, but why come here and be nice with everybody?
Because
Everyone
he-
subscribes to him and that. I'll just see why I won't subscribe to him.
Babe.
His comment
Babe.
is full of the top.
Will you just chill? You've got to remember the peer pressure and that. Babe, I didn't even want to talk. And now I'm bloody.
Sorry.
Friggin' hell, you were asleep, babe.
Oh, no.
And now you're fucking up. Now you made me swear. Now you're whinging about Luca. Chill. Wow. You got to remember the pressure he's under, babe. You know what I mean? I'm not sticking up for him. I'm just. He says sorry. He's sorry. Babe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't start, babe.
You guys have both been here before. So let me you have been here before, but just give a quick bio. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself and what you're doing right now. So I'll start with you, Holly. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah. So I have been researching. I'm a researcher of cults and aberrant religious groups. I've been doing that for over 20 years and researching this new Apostolic Reformation movement over that period of time. I've written 4 books together now with Doug about the new Apostolic Reformation movement, including our latest, Counterfeit Kingdom, or actually, no, the latest is Reckless Christianity. I forgot we've had another one since then. But I have a master's degree in Christian apologetics from Biola University, and where I worked for nearly a decade. I was the managing editor of Biola Magazine and the university editor there. And that's actually, it was when I was at Biola that I got to know Doug, and also during that time when I first learned about this movement and began researching it. And I was able to convince Doug to, partner with me in writing these books.
So, Daniel, I am Emeritus Professor of Philosophy in the Talbot School of Theology at Biola University. That's in Southern California. And I have been working with Holly now these past years on these 4 books on the New Apostolic Reformation with biblical and theological assessment. And that's been a real privilege of mine. I do a lot of work in the areas of Christian apologetics, and then still work in general philosophy, issues of that. And I've traveled globally encountering the New Apostolic Reformation in Australia, in Ukraine. We hear about it from people in Norway. Globally, we currently have a German translation forthcoming of Counterfeit Kingdom.
Hey, 4Jacks, good to see you, bro. And Ryo Gaming, good to see you. Sorry, I'm not meant to be talking much because it's a watch party. I don't feel well, so yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that shouldn't have happened. Don't worry about it, Luca. Vicky reacts to things like that. It's a few months ago. Don't worry about it, dude. And listen, I feel that you're probably under peer pressure from them as well. So I get it, dude. Don't worry.
Because of the influence of NAR there. And when I say NAR, I'm referring to the New Apostolic Reformation. If I may, let me just explain the background here. I'm not at home. I'm on the road right now and happen to be in a marina where the director of the marina has graciously offered me the use of his office. So the fire extinguisher over my shoulder is not here in case some emergency breaks out during our discussion.
All right. All right. Well, again, thank you guys so much for doing this. This is going to be a very interesting video because, while most people have heard of the NAR, a lot of people, well, at least on the side of Michael Brown, some of them, I should say, like Daniel Kalinda, Randy Clark, and Dr. Michael Brown, they would say things like that the NAR is nothing more than a myth, that it's not a real thing.
This is actually strange for me to watch Daniel Long talking to other people, apart from Chris Roseborough and Steve from Messed Up Church. I'm used to just seeing him talk with his wife, to be honest. This is different for me.
So let's go ahead and talk about this video on the American Gospel. But before we do, can one of you guys just give a brief overview?
I think the American Gospel was a few years ago now. It was some kind of documentary film thing. I think I watched it. It was a good few years ago, I think, if it's the same thing I'm thinking of. And it was just pure blasphemous, I think. Oh, no, hold on. Was American Gospel blasphemous? I think it was.
What exactly, when we say New Apostolic Reformation, what exactly is that?
So it's a global movement of Christians who are seeking to take dominion of society and the earth. And that's under the leadership of modern apostles and prophets who they believe are giving critical new revelation that will enable the church to take dominion. Okay. All right.
And so when you guys were talking to Dr. Michael Brown, what was your main takeaway from that? What exactly did you get from that? Can you kind of give like a Cliff Notes, reaction to what transpired there?
I'd like to speak to that and maybe provide a little context first. That roundtable was recorded in Ohio by the American Gospel producer, Brandon Kimber. At the invitation he sent out to me and to Holly and to Michael Brown. That occurred just about 2 years ago. When
Michael Brown was the one talking at the start. Actually, you can't, mind you, by the time you hear this, you'll be off the table. He was the one talking at the start with a moustache, white moustache.
We first met, and we spent a whole day on a Saturday recording our discussion, and most of that recording is included there in the round table. And I hope that the people who haven't seen that yet will at least have a look and understand that it's lengthy, but there are some very interesting elements here and there all along the way from beginning to end. I should add, too, that when we first agreed to do the roundtable, we understood that Brandon Kimber was...
hold on. Yeah, and see what I mean about YouTube taking you up or one down, up or down one sub. Like I come in with 328 and now I've got 327. It's just weird. I mean, I don't think anyone's unsubscribed. I don't think they have. I mean, it's possible, but it always seems to happen while I'm streaming one, it goes down one. Then later on, it'll go back up one. And I just think it's weird. It's got to be YouTube messing about, or it's got to be the system or something that's messed up. I don't know.
Producing a new film, or it would be a film in segments that's going to be a kind of expose of the New Apostolic Reformation, and that he would want to select features of our discussion with Michael Brown to be edited into the film he was producing. And so we didn't anticipate that the final product would be this long roundtable discussion from start to finish, so much as it would be a discussion that would maybe have high points and low points, or even elements that were repetitious. And we weren't concerned about that. We just thought that as long as the producer was happy with the discussion and felt that there was material there that he could use, then that would be useful. He did tell us that he thought he would make arrangements to make it available unedited. And so that's what he ultimately did. But Michael Brown, who had agreed to these same terms, really, decided that he preferred not to have the film edited in any way, the roundtable in any way, and so asked Brandon Kimber, the producer of the American Gospel series, not to use the discussion for that purpose. And so, for the time being at least, the roundtable exists only as an unedited, start to finish, but very long discussion.
Yeah, that's true, Jeff. They don't mess up your way, no. They don't mess up and give you 10 extra subs. No, you're right, dude. It's a pity. If they did, they'd correct it straight away.
Okay.
Now, my takeaway is that we all understood that we would be in disagreement, friendly disagreement, certainly, and respectful disagreement, but that Holly and I take the position that the New Apostolic Reformation is a real thing. And not only that, it is an aberrant movement. Its teachings, its doctrines, its practices.
It's a boring movement. It's terrible. I mean, just the fact that they're calling themselves apostles
Are not only unbiblical, but controvert biblical teaching in a number of points. And in addition to that, it's real, it's aberrant, but in addition to that, it is risky, it is dangerous, and people's lives have been affected in very unfortunate ways. People have been affected negatively, spiritually, and emotionally. And of course, anytime you embrace an aberrant theology, it's a theological risk as well. So that was our thesis. And Michael Brown came with a different thesis. His approach was to say that what we're calling the New Apostolic Reformation is not a movement, and it is not as dangerous as we make it out to be. Our minds were not changed, and I will note that there are a couple of other things that seem to be priorities of his own during this discussion. This is just based on my experience during the roundtable and then observing it again in review. One thing that he did, and this comes out very early on, was he indicated that he wanted to play a unifying role, and he emphasizes the need to perpetuate and foster, cultivate the unity of the church.
So you get bodies, you can get people to, like, sort of, well, if you're playing this game, they say within an hour or two some kind of Mandela effect that they don't even realize. Yeah, man, that happens. That happens, man. It's crazy. Not just within scripture, but even within media. I mean, I can understand some of the people say that, yeah, the media could be playing into the Mandela effect and actually changing some of their brand products, logos or whatever, to play in with the Mandela effect. Because even though it's real in the social media, I can see people, companies playing into it and saying, no, changing the logo and saying, no, it was always like that. But when it comes to scripture, that's supernatural changes. That's completely different. You know what I mean? It might be the same source, but it's a different type of consequence. You know what I mean? Yep.
That's something we agree with. But his view seems to be that our calling out an aberrant movement is divisive and needlessly so. And of course, we don't think that. We believe that it is much needed and that unity in the church depends upon doctrinal integrity and practical realism in concert with what the scriptures teach. So we had a disagreement there, but it seems to me that he came hoping that he could get us to move a little bit towards the center on his view of the spectrum, so that we would be less critical and act in greater harmony with the goals that he has. And of course, we weren't interested in doing that if it meant that we would retract our views about the errant and aberrant teachings of NAR. So that was one. He also called upon us to drop the label New Apostolic.
I knew it was on, but she felt like she's being funny. It's fine.
Apostolic Reformation, saying it really has no meaningful application and it's misleading to use it. And yet many of the people that we talk about use it themselves for their own views and their own movement, as I hope we can talk about during this discussion.
Ooh.
All right, so I've got some clips from the discussion that I'd like to play for you guys. And, you know, Doug.
Always, Michael. I mean, look at even Owen Benjamin. I mean, that's a while ago now, but he's one of the main ones as well that do it, deny it, and come out with everything Mandela.
You mentioned that, you know, Michael Brown constantly called this thing a myth. And I'd like to play a clip that I've called the NAR Boogeyman, because I went through, after I watched the discussion, I went through the transcript and saw that I was thinking, how many times did he call the NAR a boogeyman? But anyway, so I got one clip here. I'd like to play it for both of you, and then I'd like to get your take on it. Is that okay? All right, here we go.
So I work in lots of different circles, right? But knowing a lot of these people,
I did actually think I was muted when I was talking to Vicky then. I thought it was a bit funny, but I did actually press mute, but for some reason it didn't go on mute. One of them. Maybe I didn't, because I just got up to give her her address again. So maybe I didn't.
The overall picture that's presented as NAR is unrecognizable to most of them. Maybe Cheon would accept more of it, you know, being kind of a disciple of Peter
Definitely feel partly with Field of Dreams.
Wagner and heir to leadership in certain ways. He might accept more than most of the picture, but others, they find it
Go heat my coffee up.
Unrecognizable. In other words, if that's NAR, I'm not part of it. Mm-hmm. Now, do they agree with this? Yes. Do they reject these other things? Absolutely. You know, for example, and maybe you could help clarify this for me. So again, it's not, my issue is the idea of NAR that has emerged from your writings that to most within it, on the ground, unrecognizable. Even, for example, you referenced the call events.
Well, wait a minute, hold on. How would you support a claim that is as sweeping as that? Most people within it would not recognize it as a description of themselves. What does that mean?
Most people that you say are NAR, okay?
How many people do you think we identify by name as NAR?
I'm sure several dozen.
Okay.
Right.
And you're saying that just combing through, looking at the specific attributions we make with supporting evidence from their own sermons, videos, or publications, we're misrepresenting what they're saying in that documentation.
No, you are painting a false picture as if it's all part of the same. That's the thing. In other words, it is taking disparate elements from disparate groups with disparate leaders and making it part of a larger entity, which now becomes the boogeyman, NAR.
You know, I listened to most of the podcasts that you guys were on with Elisa Childers, and it's all pretty much, it's really a lot of the same thing. But anyway, I'd like to get your take on that clip.
True, Michael, true. It is time for Mandela Stream. I haven't done the last Mandela one I really done was the Mandela Gatekeepers, when we got Mark to come over. That was a while ago, so yeah. Maybe something more, but that was about the gatekeepers, not about Mandela itself. So maybe, yeah, it'd be cool to do a Mandela Stream, dude. Maybe do it on your channel, man. That'd be cool, man.
I'd say the first thing is that he says disparate elements. That suggests that what we did was
Absolutely, dude. Do you want to do it your channel or my channel? We could sort one out. Definitely. I think we should.
Bind in our account of what NAR is, elements that are totally unrelated to each other, disconnected, or to use Michael Brown's term, disparate. But they aren't. I
suppose we could, I don't know, maybe get some of Brian Davis stuff. Maybe watch some of that, some of his older stuff. I don't know. Or just get a random video or just talk about it. I don't know. We can do it all, I suppose. We'll just do a random Mandela stream. But, Michael, It's easy. I'm easy, mine are yours. 6 and 2 threes to me, dude. We'll talk about it later, but 6 and 2 threes to me, man. I don't mind.
We do systematic investigation of key individuals, and yes, probably dozens of them at this point in time, and see similarities, family resemblances, and even language that is exactly the same, appealing to the
I thought it was. Oh, sorry. I pressed the bloody wrong one.
same text of scripture and reasoning in the same ways to support them. There's nothing disparate about them. And so that's a miscasting of what we've actually done. And then his other criticisms about using it when he uses the term disparate fall short because they're not disparate elements at all that we've identified and documented. And notice that he didn't dispute my claim that everything that we have argued is supported textually and otherwise evidentially from primary sources among new.
Good idea, Michael. Might try and get a guest. Who are you thinking about? See, Brian was going to come on mine a while ago, but because he's working that now and maybe try to get out of YouTube a bit, maybe he won't be able to do it. Because he did say at one point he was going to come on, didn't he? On mine, but maybe it'd still be worth asking him. But I think he's a bit busy nowadays, isn't he? I don't know too many people on the Mandela except Brian. I mean, it's all random people, I suppose, like us, like spread out between not platforms, channels and that. I don't know too many people on the Mandela, to be honest. Like I say, except Brian. But there's plenty of us that definitely see it, isn't there? But yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool if we get a guest, man. Maybe we should do it on yours. Michael, because last time we did the Mandela thing with the gatekeepers, it was mine. So maybe do the Mandela on yours, dude. Get a live on yours again. That'd be cool. Dude. And your subs are going up again, Michael. You're in the teens now, I think. 800 in teens. I think you are. Last time I looked.
Apostolic leaders themselves.
Yeah. Holly.
You've never had a 6 and 2 threes. It's the same as saying 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. I got it off my dad. My dad used to say it, 6 and 2 threes. Same thing, isn't it? I think my dad probably like made it up himself. He just adapted it from 6 of one and half a dozen the other. So yeah, that's just 6. Yeah, 6 and half a dozen, or 6 of one and half a dozen the other, or 6 and 2 threes. But I've been stuck with 6 and 2 threes all my life because I remember my dad saying it. Same thing, isn't it? You can say 3 twos if you wanted to.
Oh, just one thing I would add to that is what brings all of these, what he is saying, are disparate.
You can steal it, dude. You can steal it. That'd be brilliant. I'll carry on my dad's dead, so I'll carry on his his wit throughout the ages. That'd be cool.
Theology, teachings, or practices. What brings them all together is the belief that there are present-day governing apostles and present-day.
You may lose hundreds of subs after my next Mandela video. I think you better. I thought you were doing something because it seemed like you were in recording. I don't know if you've been in recording since your last video, but when I come in, it was your background. So I thought you'd been in recording something, unless it's because I wasn't in yesterday. I don't know. But yeah. But mind you, Michael, I remember last time we thought that, and you actually gained subs. Remember when you thought it'd be controversial what we were talking about? Can't remember what it was, but it was on your channel, and we actually thought you might lose a few subs, but you actually gained some. It was pretty cool. Oh, Kerwin? Oh, that was a Duffy one, right? Okay, got you. I don't know. Yeah, I could ask Kerwin. I don't know who Kerwin is. Kerwin. Is it something in particular that will offend, or just ME in general, Michael? I think it's a Mandela effect in general. It offends people. Oh, I think they just don't understand it, so they deny it, I suppose. I don't know if they're so much offended by it. I just think they deny it. I just think it's not like they like they get offended by the truth of Jesus Christ now. I don't think it's the same thing. I think they get more. They just deny it because they just don't think these things can physically change because they don't believe in the supernatural, in general. Mark's right. Okay, got you. See, I'm crap with names, man. I might I did email Mark a few months ago, and he says, "Yeah, I've been gone for a while and all that." He says, "I'll be back on doing videos and that soon," but I don't think he has. So I might email him again and see what he's saying. Sorry again, man. Steve. All right. Yeah. So I might email him again. See what he's saying.
Yo.
Oh, hi, you're there. You good, dude?
Well, I'm sick of typing, so I thought it'd be easy to come in and talk.
Yeah, a lot easier.
You've got Mark's email address, so if you could email Mark and ask him if both him and John will come on with us.
Right, that's what I'll do. John Carwin. Right. That's what I'll do then. I'll ask Mark. I'll have to check his channel out and see if he's done anything lately. I haven't even noticed. I don't think he has. I'm sure I've got a notification of some sort. I'm sure I would have noticed it. But the last email I sent to him, he did say he'd been busy. He's been off.
Yeah, it'd be better to ask Mark to do it because John probably won't know us,
Of course. Yeah, well, that's wise. Well, babe.
Michael's quiet.
I turned the volume down because it was vibrating a bit, so I turned it down a bit. Maybe I don't know. I don't think it's too quiet. Sometimes I don't know. Maybe
it's not loud. I've got a bit to.
Oh, it's maybe because he's not talking that good. He's got a cold and that, and he's not feeling well, so is it?
Feel awful, mate.
It's crap. I know. I feel crap, man. I've got sweats down the back of my neck. I feel cold, and I put on my top, and I'm too warm. You know what I mean? It's bloody awful.
My arm's killing me today.
Is it? Have you got painkillers?
Yeah.
Take some with that. Have you still got ibuprofen as well?
Yeah.
Take them both, babe. Yeah, man. Yeah, but definitely. There's a Mandela streams definitely in the distant, not the distant, the near future, like very near future. Yeah, I think we need to do.
No, it's crazy because I get most pushback from flat earthers.
I know. I mean, look at like Neil and Paula and all that.
It's like, how do you come to understanding that Earth's created by a supernatural being and not understand that this creation supernatural is?
Exactly.
And then just total denial, like it says in Ephesians that we wrestle against supernatural beings. It's
exactly
crazy to me.
We claim to have faith in Christ. We claim to have faith in Father, faith in the Holy Spirit, which are all supernatural things. And then when something supernatural happens, we deny it. Completely deny it. It's like, oh, that can't happen. I could deny some things like ghosts and stuff like that, but when it comes to like this, I mean, why not? And demons as well, like Vicky was saying about in the Luca comments, Andrew Johnson said that I said the thing is Avatar was demon. It's ridiculous. It's bizarre. Just because they don't believe that these demons can exist. That's why they don't believe in the supernatural. That's why it's bizarre to them.
They've got some serious hurdles before they even get to that bridge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely do. What I'll do is after I finish this, I'll have a look through my.
Yeah, and I only jumped on to just say that because I couldn't be able to keep.
I know. So yeah, that's what I'll do. But like I say, I'm not talking much anyway. I'm just what's part of it, just because I really can't be bothered using my brain today. That's why I didn't do the Luca thing, because I knew I'd have to use my brain and that. And I just couldn't be bothered talking, to be honest. So I'll give you my email after this.
That theology is what unites all of these different things, and it's the definition that we have given consistently in all of our works and interviews and writings, and throughout the roundtable, we made it clear that the core belief in NAR is about that they're present day governing apostles and prophets. And Michael Brown said in his closing remarks that, even after taking part in this entire roundtable with us, he still didn't have a clear understanding of our definition of NAR. But it's obvious in reading the comments in YouTube, it would be very enlightening for people to go read the comments under the American Gospel, the Roundtable video on YouTube. and see. And it's very clear that people understood the definition of NAR being that there are present day governing apostles and prophets. But Michael Brown keeps insisting on not recognizing that that's our definition for some reason. And it is interesting that during the roundtable, he did make it clear that he believes that there are present day governing apostles. And so that's in our doctrine.
Insane.
Where?
Exactly. Well, there's no apostles. You had to meet Jesus. Physically, personally meet Jesus. The man, Jesus, the God, Jesus, in physical form. You had to meet him. Like Paul did in the road to Damascus. Like the disciples who did his ministry with them. Simple. And I mean, I believe people can give prophecies for the church, small prophecies, but not to the extent of the prophets of the Old Testament and stuff. I don't believe that at all. They were big old major prophets.
Well, my question on that is, what's to prophesy?
Well, exactly. I mean, just
did Jesus not get last prophecy in Revelation?
Exactly. For the body of Christ, yeah. But I mean, within their own church, God might give them a little message for their own church or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't mean for like the body of Christ as church. I just mean to edify their own church or whatever. If they're walking in the doctrine of the Lord, you know what I mean? But no, when it comes to them major prophecies, you're right. There's nothing to prophesy. It's been prophesied. It's done. And we're in it. We're in it pretty much in the Revelation prophecies. Definitely. Not finished them. They're not all been fulfilled, but I certainly think a few of them have. That's for sure. But you're right, Michael. There's nothing else to be prophesied. I don't think. It's done.
And so it's something that he keeps avoiding, though, even when he
sorry, that was my point. Yeah, I don't think there's any prophets, major prophets, and there's definitely not apostles.
No, definitely not.
No.
He talked to us about Mark Shrona and told us the questions he asked Mark Shrona to find out if he was NAR or not. He never asked Mark Shrona if he believed that there were governing apostles. And Mark Shrona clearly does believe that. That's throughout his book, which I think we'll be talking about later. The book
almost sounds like Jehovah's Witnesses with governing body. Like
it does. It does. It does.
I forget what they call themselves, the anointed or something.
Anointed.
I would imagine it's a similar thing. Like they think they're conversing with Jesus who came back in 1914 or.
Yes, it's silly, isn't it?
It's like elevating other men above other men, isn't it? You know, I don't.
Of course, I mean Jesus came back at that time, but yet only they seen it, not everybody that was
only came back for them, and he only deals with them, and you know.
Of course, madness,
crazy stuff.
In my closing remarks, and not just in that book, and throughout his entire ministry, that's been a feature of his ministry.
Yeah. And one of the things you guys talked about, you mentioned Chris Valentin, through several times. Holly, you gave evidence just through different quotes from Chris Valentin, Shayon, and others. You guys have written another book all about Bethel and the dangers of Bethel, and Bethel being a movement itself. And those guys that are,
I believe that Bethel is a movement in itself. I won't say it's a ministry, because a ministry is a good thing, and that's not a good ministry. Full of false doctrines. I mean, full of Bill Johnsonisms. It's all his ponderings.
There's the multiple Bethels, because when I was at Jehovah's Witnesses, like they spoke a Bethel. Like,
oh yeah, you get Bethel churches here in UK and that as well, but their ministry is just called Bethel Ministries. But you get Bethel churches, yeah. I think some of them are quite kind of.
Well, I got a feeling it was like somewhere where you go to study.
Maybe. Maybe because Bethel, doesn't it mean God's house? So yeah, it would make sense. That somewhere you go study God's word and that. But you certainly see little Bethel churches. I've seen little Bethel churches, but they're not the same.
There's one near me called Royston Bethel.
I think there's quite a few just because of the meaning of the word Bethel, but yeah, but nothing to do with Bethel Ministries.
I'll send you a link for their YouTube channel. They've also got an app as well, Royston Bethel. It might interest you, like.
Yeah, man. Why not?
Chris and Bill being both part of the broader, definition of the New Apostolic Reformation, those guys are extremely dangerous. Their teaching permeates churches. And in the last video we did together, we talked about Bethel being a movement. So
that's the thing as well. Little churches that ain't got a lot get influenced by these type of big churches. So then the silly doctrines that go like Bill Johnson and all that do, like grave soaking and all that kind of crap. Little churches that end up emulating, or the congregation in the church will end up emulating.
That says in chat, it says, "Hey guys, thought you're not going live." I've literally only just jumped on because I was sick of typing in chat and it was easier to talk.
Yeah,
I wasn't planning on joining.
I did say I was going live anyway, but I couldn't. I still feel really ill. Vicky feels ill, and she was sleeping at the time. So I said to Luca, "I'm not doing the Luca thing. I've set that for Tuesday, because that's the best day for me is Tuesday to do it with him." But I did say I was going live, and I won't be talking much, so I'll just have a watch party sort of thing. So yeah, I didn't even know you were doing the interview today. I got to the end of it just as I was setting the stream up flat. So I just seen the very last minute, and I did type in chat, but you maybe just gone at that point. I seen Jim. We was the last to type in chat, and then I typed to Jim, and he's just gone, I think. Yeah, there it is, there, dude. There's the link.
When they are teaching NAR doctrine, I'm sitting here watching this and I'm thinking, but the point is that this teaching is permeating churches all over the world. So anyway, what would you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so Flats basically did this, so it was a watch party, so I didn't have to talk much and use my brain. Hey,
that
Luca.
An invite for you, Luca.
How you doing, man? Are you good?
That's a gallon.
Yeah, I'm good, man. Well, I'm not brilliant, but I'm good. I'm not brilliant, but I'm good.
Continue.
I actually thought it was Flats coming in. Oh, there it is.
Oh, hi.
Peeling them potatoes.
Hello. Peeling them potatoes.
Peeling them
peeling better than I do because I lose bits of finger when I peel them.
Look, yeah.
Oh, bonny ties. Oh, yeah. So I'll have to watch the interview with Josh later after your stream, Flat.
I just started watching it before you went live.
No, because I thought you're streaming with Luca, and I actually put it on there as a redirect. So
I seen it.
Premiere stopped, it went to redirect, and I said, "Oh, for 2 days."
I actually seen it. I did see it at the end of the stream when I seen it come up. It come up the thumbnail. So I was wondering if you had done that or if that was just something YouTube did. But I couldn't be bothered using my brain today. It just doesn't. It's not working. It's so pukey. And Vicky was sleeping anyway because she's been pukey, ain't you, babe?
I've actually been sick today as well. My wife's also sick, so I don't know what's going on.
There you go. Michael is as well.
I was sick since my stream.
Michael is as well. So there's something going on, man. There's something going on.
I'm telling you, it's them planes.
It's got to be, man.
I was fine until the end of my stream the other night, and then I've been ill ever since.
I know, it's true. She was doing her stream the other night, and it was all well, just about to finish, and she had to run. I had to finish the stream for her because she had to run and puke. Crazy.
Ryu Gaming says, so these people in the video do not believe that the Bible is supernaturally changing. I bet they've never even heard it.
No, they're not into Mandela effect and that. No. I haven't heard them talking about it. When it comes to, I doubt they would. I mean, when it comes to other stuff, they're brilliant. I think there is. But no, it's something I've never heard them talking about. So I doubt it very much. The guy in the middle, anyway. Don't about the other two. Guy in the middle. It's his channel. This is on.
Yeah, we document that in our very first book, New Apostolic Reformation ? A biblical response to a worldwide movement. We documented that this is a global movement, and we showed that and supported that. And we've done that all through our books, including to the most recent one, you referenced Reckless Christianity, which is a deep dive into the teachings of Bill Johnson and Chris Valentin and Bethel Church in Redding, California. And the reason we focused on this one church is precisely because of that, because just the influence of the single church, which is probably the most influential church in this movement, it's global, and we're contacted by people all the time.
Bye, Luca. You didn't last long, did you, Luca? And when it comes to this stuff, I don't think Luca likes listening too much. If you need to get into the Bible a bit more, Luca, and maybe these things would make more sense, or you'd appreciate them more. You know?
Yeah. As soon as you feel uneasy about any Bible, if you feel uneasy, like when the topic's Bible, then you have a Antichrist spirit fighting the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, that's it. It's either the Holy Spirit convicting you, or like you say, the Antichrist spirit fighting, trying to fight the Holy Spirit. Or even your own spirit, you know what I mean? It doesn't bear witness with your own spirit, because you know in your own spirit, yes, even though our heart is bad, you still know morality in your own spirit, even though you go against it.
Yep.
Because it's God-given. It's God-given. It's there. The information is there from God. You know what I mean? So I think that's part of the reason.
From countries, every country almost you can imagine throughout the world, telling us about Bethel teachings that are coming in and taking over. And I just heard of someone in Ketchikan, Alaska, who was concerned about NAR teachings that have just taken over there. And then in Germany, Doug referenced that we have a translation of this book, Counterfeit Kingdom, coming out in German. And that's the reason, is because Bethel teachings are taking over so many churches in Germany. So it's definitely a global movement.
So they are going, it's not global, it's going worldwide and global. Well, yeah, you remember that statement that the Flat Earth Society came out? We've got flat earthers all over the globe. And we've got new flat earthers all over the globe. They're like, what a statement to make. Unbelievable. That was years ago. The NAR myth. That's Michael Brown.
All right, so I've got another clip, and this is right around the beginning of the discussion. And Michael Brown in this clip, again, is calling the NAR a myth. So it's probably going to be similar to what you watched before, but just watch this.
It was a myth when they called themselves NAR, New Apostolic Reformation. It's not a myth. They definitely exist. I mean, Bill Johnson's Bethel is one of them.
Let me get your take on this.
It is this thing called NAR, which now the internet is one of the most evil things on the planet. I will have.
Yeah. What does his tash remind you of?
You know who it is. Bobby Boy. I always thought that as well, when I see Michael Brown. I thought he's a bit like Bob.
People who will not go near my ministry, whatever good we could give and however we could help
Very
them.
Similar,
because I'm part of NAR. Mm-hmm. It is this boogeyman. Just before coming here, I saw someone posting on our Facebook page, Dr. Brown, is this true? I saw this website blasting you as a leader in NAR, etc. So it's this thing that has been created that I don't believe exists. I reached out to one gentleman saying, hey, I'm going to be with Doug and Holly. Could you answer this question for me? He said, first, slay the myth of NAR. This is an alleged leader within NAR. I don't know a single person supposedly within NAR who agrees with your characterization of it. So my concern is not with most of the specifics that you address, because I agree with you. Most of the specific concerns you have, I have as well. It is that this thing exists called NAR as a definable movement, especially when what Peter Wagner originally coined as NAR, something that goes back 100 years and is just...
Yeah, go on.
In Afrikaans, NAR means tick.
It means what?
Tick.
Oh, what, like a dog tick?
As in sick, as in...
sick. I thought you said tick. Oh, okay. No.
Yeah, like, I've never heard of this before. Like, I'm just trying to get my head around it.
New Apostolic Reformation.
Is the actual people that are going around claiming to be these leading apostles?
Yeah, Bill Johnson and that say they're apostles. They there was a big group of them years ago who got together. I think we watched it in one of my streams once where that woman had the staff like of Lord Rings saying, "You shall not pass." That one, where you had a load of the pastors there together who anointed Todd Bentley, not Todd White, Todd Bentley, an apostle, an apostle. They anointed him an apostle. These other apostles anointed him apostles. Yeah, they're self-proclaimed apostles. And so that's what the call
And this old guy who looks like Bob's trying to deny that there are these people. Like.
Yeah, he said, but it's weird because at the start he said there's the fake NAR and the real NAR. But to me, it's Paul Johnson and all that type of people. The ones that call themselves apostles are the NAR movement and New Apostolic Reformation.
The growth of post-denominational Christianity, as he might put it. So I think in some of the methodology, again, not questioning your sincerity and believing that you don't want to be alarmist, that one way or another, it's come out in an alarmist way and thus an exaggerated way, that people that are really not related are put in one group, that the worst construction on certain things is put, that extreme examples are used. And it would be as if I told a group of expectant young mothers and mothers with little children, by the way, many white men are child predators, especially the tall guys, but not all. Well, from that moment...
So what's that point? What's that point meant to mean? A little bit weird.
I'd have tried to use a more palatable analogy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
On, every white man they see is going to be suspect. So there's somehow, as much as you give specific examples, sometimes it's the worst possible. Now everybody becomes guilty of the whole. So this NAR thing that's been created, I don't believe exists. The specific concerns in certain circles, I absolutely agree with. So that's what I'd love to try to refine.
Watching this, you guys have said, told him throughout this discussion.
Yeah, that's almost like a contradiction to my ears, because if it doesn't exist, what is it to fear?
I was trying to figure out how is he trying to refine it. He says he agrees with it, but he's just trying to refine it, but he's saying the same thing.
That's it. I mean, it definitely exists. I mean, these guys, the one, I don't know the other two in the end, the one in the middle, Daniel Long, he's always spoke against it, Not just NAR. I mean, there's lots of them that are all different acronyms and that wouldn't class themselves NAR and that, but you could fit them into that kind of bracket, that kind of pigeonhole, you know what I mean?
Who's coined this term NAR?
I don't know. I think it's them. I'm not sure if it's the people outside of them it coined it, or if it's them themselves that coined it. It sounds like it'd be them themselves that coined it, New Apostolic Reformation, because somebody outside of them wouldn't have called him something like that. They would have called him something a bit more derogatory, I think. I would say it's them. I don't know for sure though. I really don't. I might have to check that out.
That not every church in the charismatic movement, or not everyone in the charismatic movement, is part of NAR. But so he says here again that this is a myth, that the NAR is a myth. What's your response to that?
I'd say tell that to all the people. Tell that to all the people who come out of this movement and who actually say that we've nailed it, that the way we describe it and define it is exactly that.
Yep.
American missiologist, theologian, and church growth guru C. Peter Wagner. Peter Wagner was the founder of the New Apostolic Reformation and coiner of the term itself. So Peter Wagner. It says Guru C. C. Peter Wagner. So C. Peter Wagner. So I think Peter might be the middle name. So it says C. Peter Wagner. So yeah, it was coined by one of them, Peter Wagner. Peter Wagner is his name, yeah. All right, Peter Wagner. Let me just check who Peter Wagner is.
Wagner.
Pure Wagner.
I can just eat top of a potato now. It looks a bit hairy.
Ooh, August right. Was an American missionary, right, our teacher and founder of several Christian organizations. Just quickly show you. That dude there. Wagner.
Wagner.
Yes. Oh, he's dead.
Oh yeah,
That on his
oh, yeah.
chest.
Michael, you saw that short that I put of you today, correct?
Yeah.
You must hear Sean Hawkins is swearing you.
Oh, I know. I haven't seen it. I'll have to have a look at it.
I can't prove it though, can I? Because he's not got that channel anymore.
Oh no, he remembers it. That's for sure. He's
Oh, he
swearing
remembers it.
crazy there. We're all just racist.
Racist. Oh man. The guy's off.
You've had a few shots today. As me and Michael sort of.
We are Luciferian racists, guys.
Let's have a look at these answers.
I'm not even engaging the imbecile.
No, I just said bless you. That's what I've been saying back to him.
Yeah.
I don't even answer him. I said bless you, Sean.
Let's have a look at these.
It's beyond help, mate.
Oh, sound would be better. Sound would be good.
Bad
I
mouth.
bet Dave's got a lot of flack on his and all, hasn't he?
Uh-huh.
Golfers are, but of course, I've gotten trolls that want to just badmouth my faith or tell me I'm stupid. And one of the things that we should be considerate of, and this might seem unrelated, but that person that's trolling you might not be an actual human being, might not be. And so I always say, who do you say Jesus Christ of Nazareth is? Not just Jesus, but Jesus Christ, Jesus Messiah, Jesus the Anointed of Nazareth. Who do you say he is? And it's funny, you know, the scripture says to try the spirit, test the spirits, right? To see if they be true. And I've seen the demonically influenced totally scattered, never even return, never come back.
Yep.
It's literally using, dude, I'll bless them with the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. And they never return.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
Did I find people that disagree with me about my yes? Have I found people that disagree with me? Yes, of course.
Went to the wrong place to pause. Say again.
I'm saying obviously, yeah, they're like, oh, you guys are just saying demons are real now. Prove it. And AI.
Well, that's what Vicky seen a post in Lucas from Andrew Johnson from 2 months ago, saying about me acting like Lucas died and saying that the demon avatar he's got is like a demon, and that's just stupid. That's bizarre. You know what I mean?
It is actually though.
Yeah. They just don't. It's because they've got no relationship with Christ. They just don't understand like things like
he doesn't understand the anime is based on demons.
Exactly.
Absolutely full of demons.
And they can't understand demons itself because they've got no faith in Christ. You know what I mean? It's all fake to them. They just don't understand supernatural. We don't understand the supernatural, but they just deny the supernatural, you know?
And in a way that almost makes me feel like there's a demon behind the globe. In a way, okay? Mm-hmm. I love everybody out there. Anybody that believes in the globe that's Christian, or anybody that believes in the globe, period. I'm not trying to put you down or say that you have a demon. What I'm trying to say is I believe that there's a spiritual aspect to the heliocentric model. And I believe that once you bring up something like biblical cosmology or something like flat earth, there's an instant reaction that's not like a normal reaction. Like if I tell someone about 9/11, you know, that one's kind of touchy too, but most of the time people, once you do break it down to them, they'll understand that they don't want to actually physically fight you, or they don't want to try to ruin your character or anything like that. But when it comes to flat earth or biblical cosmology or even geocentricity, you see that people want to slander you. They want to try to ruin your name, drag your name through the mud, leave you comments to leave you triggered. And
you're standing outside of it looking at it, and it's like, wow, these people are clinically insane. Clinically insane. They are
this one went down,
operating from a mental maturity level.
I bet you. But he's right. I'm bloody clinically insane, someone.
Yeah.
We know for sure. At least one of them is.
Of a 12-year-old. And this, whether it comes to politics or whether it comes to flat earth or anything, you see the behavior revert right
wow, I
down
haven't been
to,
liking them. Sorry for that.
I think a food fight's about to break out in the cafeteria, man. That's what it looks like.
That's
You know?
Just let me like them.
Did I find people that disagree?
When I do get,
I know.
You're standing outside of it. Look,
I was commenting in a post about Foucault's pendulum, and this guy pops up, Sean Hawkins.
What?
Did I find people that disagreed with me about?
You're standing outside of it, looking at it, and it's like, wow, these people are clinically in, you know? And you have to wonder what is stunting the mental maturity of people. And it's part of this spell. And I'm saying that the initial thing, it's even when they hypnotize you for your daily news program, for instance. First thing that comes up is a countdown. And it's usually about 4 or 5 seconds. And they show either a globe or their logos spinning with little concentric circles going around it in different directions, alternating. And it's up there.
True.
I was commenting in a post about Foucault's pendulum.
Hey,
and
look at the
this guy
boss.
pops up,
Who's
Sean
this?
Hawkins,
He's the boss,
calling,
man.
Boss.
I like
you
that
know
one
what
straight
he's
away.
talking about, you could be fucked up and all that. And I remember I'd screenshotted something talking about Foucault's pendulum from a book, and I'd screenshotted it, and it was talking about how when they first tried it, it didn't work properly and that. And I just screenshotted the entire page and just posted it. Next thing, Sean Hawkins pops back up a YouTube link. So like, what's this? Clicks on the YouTube link, right? This crazy old guy just stood there on camera spitting feathers. Michael Kahn, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to destroy you. You know what I mean? I'm like, who's this weirdo? Like, so, yep, Sean Hawkins. Little did I know that was first.
No doubt, Sean Hawkins.
Time I was going to meet him, and he was going to be in my life for years.
Well, yeah. And he has been.
Sean Hawkins, we love the guy. Did it affect you mentally?
Oh, dude. I mean, not back when with the brand.
I looked like a beetle. PJ looks like a ghost.
I look like a ghost. I see mine's only got 1 light. Yours got 14. I started getting pushed back from that Scarlet, whoever it was, 2 years ago. You've seen how I came on crying. It affected me that much. You've seen it on the stream. I came on with tears in my eyes. It affected me that much. It got personal to the point where I'd let a few things out. And then it was used against me about, you're probably just making up stories about your son just so you don't have to answer the question. And this is from an alleged woman. I was thinking, how can she be so heartless talking about my son and all that? And you've seen it. I came on crying. Now I've learned not to let that affect me as much. I know that what they're saying is, and it probably wasn't even a woman, probably just, and I thought they were serious about what they were saying. They were just saying it hurt me. You know what I mean? And I've learned to deal with that. But yeah, emotionally, it used to affect me. It affected Vicky as well. But you've seen it firsthand, how it affected me when I first started coming on your stream. When I first started coming on the panel. Yeah, man. That was good. Well done, Flats. Nice.
You definitely need a bath when you've been dealing with anti-flat earthers.
Definitely. But yeah, there was definitely a few shades of colour difference between me and Michael. PJ, you ever heard Dave talk about his airplane ride? Which you asked me that the other day, dude. No. I can't. He's maybe told me, but if he's told me, I've forgotten about it. Do you know about it, Michael?
I don't know. Possibly. You'd have to
I don't know.
I'll have to ask him about that when I see him next. I'll talk to him next. That'd be cool. I'll ask him. Well, you could tell us about it if it's not going to take too long. I mean, to type in chat. I don't mean it doesn't matter if it takes long, but you know what I mean.
And that's what I was going to
rank and file.
Did anyone say something? Or maybe Vicky. Did you say something, babe?
Yeah, because the dog was crying.
Oh, she's a pain in the butt. She thinks there's something under the chair and there's not. It's like I go there to get her ball for her, and it's not that. I don't know what she's whining for. I did it last night.
Daniel, who've come out, but also some people who have played leadership roles in the New Apostolic Reformation movement. Some of them have a past affiliation with Bethel Church even. Those are the people who have special authority to speak to this issue about its reality. It's been a painful reality in their own experience and their own thinking, and many of them speak as if they're in recovery. We've had people say that they've had experiences leaving NAR churches and NAR organizations that resemble PTSD, so dramatic have the emotional traumatic dimensions of it been for them. And some have said that they've had to relearn who Jesus is and accept a new appreciation for the authority of Scripture and the importance of personal Bible study, and finding a church that is actually functioning in a New Testament way without.
Is he saying that they got so brainwashed they don't even know who Jesus is?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Pretty much. I mean,
No cult does
they don't-
that, Flash. No cult does. They'll
No,
have an
no.
interpretation of Jesus, but not, as Dave was saying on his short, not Jesus of Nazareth.
They've all got their own personal Jesus, I think. To be honest, they'll tickle their ears. You know what I mean? With what they want here. That's the Jesus they want to know.
Out the accoutrements or all the special bells and whistles that come with NAR, and it's a real adjustment for them, and yet it's an adjustment they believe they need to make because.
See that? I've gone down another sub, Michael. Down to
Have you
226.
really?
Yeah, it's 2 subs in this stream. I've gone down. Yeah.
Look what it says on mine.
It's weird. I don't know if it's YouTube or not. It's me back to 326. Back to what I was on yesterday. When I was up to 328 today. Crazy.
Hold on, let me just refresh it. Yeah,
Madness.
326.
Yeah, madness, isn't it? I don't know if people are unsubscribing or if it's just YouTube or the system's messed up.
Luca's live.
Oh, Luca's live, is he?
Already were, I've got a notification.
Huh. Okay. Weird. Okay.
I hope I can.
As they would say that their eyes have been.
There's a huge storm coming up now. I hope I can stream just now.
Ooh, is that? Oh, do look at me looking out my window. Wow. You're in South Africa.
It literally looks like a hurricane.
What an idiot. I'm just not thinking. Not good anyway. Not good. Sometimes I like storms, but not if they've got to mess up your electricity and all that kind of stuff.
There's been some funky clouds today here.
It's been crap weather the past few days, yeah.
Weird
Been
clouds.
cold. Been quite cold. I mean, it was just last week, it was humid. It was dull, but it was humid. Now it's freezing.
Open to the truth with the help of the Holy Spirit and a knowledge of Scripture.
Yeah, very good.
I'll ask him, Barry. I'll ask him next time we get any contact with him.
The idea that it's a myth, I mean, what we're saying is that there are church leaders out there who are teaching that there are present day apostles and prophets who are supposed to govern the church, they claim that they're giving new revelation that is critical that the church needs to have in order to take dominion of the earth. These are all things that we document in books and through extensively through the writings and the sermons and the teachings of these.
He is live. 2 seconds. I want to see what it's about. Oh, it's a 50 subscriber special. But I think he's playing a game. Look. Quickly. Yeah, he's playing a game of some sort. But you got who's got in his chat? Igor. Oh, Truth Trolls there. Our Truth Trolls there. So I've got some of our guys supporting him at least. But Igor's not one of ours. No. That's cool. What do you think of the game? Is it good? No.
Looks terrible.
It looks terrible. It looks like a crap game. Yeah. There you go. Well, I'll just say it. Fair play. So I'll just say congrats.
My playing game days are done. They've been a long time.
I know. Well, I mean, I have a game now and again.
Can I see you?
Oh, you?
Oh my!
I thought it was silent. No, it is. Just say congrats.
And that's 4. Okay. I see what. Maybe.
Sorry, guys.
Maybe they all have the point. What's it? And I'm guessing, yes.
He didn't look at his chat.
Second square's actually done. Triangle.
He's got 51 subs now.
That.
Well. See you later, Luca.
Leaders, it's public
publicly accessible, all of their teaching. And so to say that those things are a myth is just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, and notice too the generalities, the way he speaks in generalities. He says,
"Ooh, looks nice, looks nice. Look, cheek on. What's the other bit, mate? Is that sticks? Nice."
well, you like to pick the most extreme cases and then generalize from that and then paint this whole larger group, swath of people with this label of NAR. But he doesn't say who these extreme cases are. I think that would be revealing. I would invite Michael Brown once again to identify who are the extreme cases that we've identified by name, either individuals or organizations or churches that he thinks are extreme and need to be called out. Can he name them? Because he is accusing us of going after the extreme cases, but we think that actually this is subterfuge, that he's protecting friends of his that would be in the most extreme camp. So the generalities are a tell that he's not representing our work very accurately. And then another thing is that it would be very hard to tell the difference between whichever cases we discuss that he considers to be extreme and other cases. So we need for him to be more specific to know exactly what this complaint is about. And yet he's accusing us of generalizing and not, being fair in specifying. But we've been as precise as we can in our definitions. We've called out people by name and supported our contentions with evidence from their own work. And we've been as specific as we possibly can. So it's actually self-referentially defeating to call upon us to do something we have already done and not be doing it himself.
Yeah. And he mentioned, I don't know how many times, that most of the friends that he has that he says you guys have labeled as being part of NAR, they asked the question, well, what is this thing called NAR? What is the NAR?
I was doing this comedy act.
I'm calling these guys tinfoil hat wearers.
They call them the haters. I like it.
Do either of you want to speak to that?
Well, I would say, first of all, I don't believe them. I don't believe them when they say we've never even heard of it. And we certainly aren't part of some movement like that. What we describe is a well-entrenched, pervasive phenomenon that is led by high-profile individuals, often with global influence, as Bill Johnson and Chris Vallotton exemplify. And they know what NAR is. They know now. They also know whether their ministries and their teachings fit the description of NAR. So there's something wrong here. We tell people, don't abandon the label because you need an appropriate label, a good descriptive label for what's going on. But make sure that you understand what the distinctive features of NAR are, what stands out about NAR, so that you can ask people, well, do you believe this, or do you teach this, or is this practice something you endorse and engage in yourself? And if the answer is yes across the board, well, that's all we mean by NAR. And so maybe you don't like the label, but you certainly haven't abandoned the practices and the teachings that support that we're addressing and calling NAR.
Let's move on now to talk about Mark Sharona and Lance Wall now. Let's start with Mark Sharona. I've got a clip that I want to show you guys of Dr. Brown denying that Mark Sharona believes in governing apostles and prophets. So watch this.
So I'm not really sure I'm understanding your concern, because it wouldn't be difficult for you to identify cases of individuals who just simply don't fit the description or wouldn't own the label. But are you assuming that we're talking about them? Are you thinking that
Yeah. For
we're
example,
generalizing to include them. What would be your evidence for that?
you listed, for example, Mark Sharona as a NAR leader. So I wrote to Mark a series of questions, which I then sent you without saying who it was. Do you believe in X, Y, Z? These are fundamental tenets of NAR. Do you believe in them? And he said, no, absolutely not. Okay, that would mean that he's not a NAR leader, but he's in the book as such.
So let me get your take on that clip.
Yeah. So remember a moment ago, I was saying that he doesn't usually mention the names of individuals that he thinks we have painted, that we have identified from the extreme spectrum end of the spectrum. Let me see if I can rephrase this more clearly. He has said that we start with cases that are very extreme. He says some extreme cases without naming them. But now notice that when he thinks it's going to be to his advantage, he will name somebody himself individually. And in this case, it's Mark Sharona. Now, it's interesting that he would do that, apparently confident that this strategy would work to actually torpedo our thesis. But it actually backfires because, as we'll discuss here in a moment, Mark Sharona is quite unequivocally involved in the New Apostolic Reformation, affirms it, and seeks to perpetuate it. So we'll come back to that. But I want to give you a little context here for the discussion of Mark Sharona in the round table. Prior to recording, we heard from the producer that Michael Brown intended to bring up the name of an individual who we identify as NAR in one of our books, and press us to defend our claim that this individual is NAR. And I suggested that Holly and I discussed this and suggested that he share with us in advance who this person is that he had identified from our work. And the producer himself reached out to Michael Brown and said, would you care to share with us who that is? And Michael Brown did not want to do that. Now, I assume that that's because he wanted to try to catch us flat-footed, which is a clever move if you're having a discussion and a disagreement about that. But it really shouldn't have mattered to him if we'd have known in advance who he was talking about, because if he was right in his claim,
if I could see, bro, yeah, no.
He would have caught us flat-footed anyway, and we would not have been able to support our statement that Mark Sharona is NAR. Now we come to the round table, and he brings up Mark Sharona.
Would this be classified as a conspiracy or conspiracy theory?
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
As you see in that one clip. And also in the roundtable, at least 3 times, I asked Michael Brown if we had asked you in advance for the name of this person, Mark Sharona, that you wanted to talk about during the roundtable.
Mark Sharona. That kept going through my head, sorry.
So that we knew who it was in advance prior to the roundtable. Would you have given us his name? And the first couple of times I asked that, he sidestepped the question. And then finally, the 3rd time around, he said, yes, he would. Well, I'm not sure what to make of that, because we had made the attempt to find out from him who he had in mind so that we could bring whatever detailed research we had collected to the discussion and to the round table. Now, we still have that research, and we're prepared to talk about that at length here and now. But I wanted you to hear that because it's important background to understanding Michael Brown's strategy here.
When you communicated that there was this individual, not named, that you had queried on these points, and then you wanted to know, you were going to press us. Is he the individual you're talking about?
Yeah, but we could have come prepared to discuss.
This is exactly why I did it, though.
No, I know why you did it. Because you didn't want us to know.
No.
Well,
why did I not want you to know?
Why wouldn't you want us to know?
Because I simply wanted you to look at this in an unbiased way. If this person
Okay.
held these views,
How about this?
would they be NAR? Can I finish?
I don't think you can look at it in an unbiased way. Most people's got a bias, isn't there? I mean, yeah, I suppose you can try, but most people don't.
No. Here's why. If we have him listed here, your presumption should be that if we're people of integrity, we've got some data that we could bring to the table to justify our inclusion of his name on the list. But we don't know who you're going to name. So when you come to us, really the response we should make is, we'll just have to go back and look at our database to see what grounded our judgment.
So I
about
believe
you.
you're people of integrity, but with fundamental error and some blind spots that I'm trying to help you with.
I want to go ahead, if I can, guys, and just read some quotes from Mark Sharona's book. Let me do that if I can. I'll put the first one on the screen here so you can see it. The New Apostolic Reformation. This is right from his book, The Prophetic Perspective. The New Apostolic Reformation cannot be contained in structures supported by the traditions of men. The old wineskin, that is the institutional church, will not.
There you go.
Whoa.
Wineskin.
What?
The old wineskin. That's another one. Nice.
The bottle, Mara.
It should be the old bottle, eh? The old bottle. Yeah, man. It's all over the place. Wow.
Yeah, how's it wineskin? Oh, that's weird. I thought it was bottles.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah, I think the Mandela stream is on the horizon.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Not yield to Reformation. It is rigid and resistant to prophetic voices. The institutional church has historically rejected what is ready to emerge in God's intent and purpose. Let me read another one for you. We are about to see a radical shift away from the church as an institution in our culture toward the church as a movement with the power to transform the culture. Christianity as an institution must die in order for Christianity as a transformational movement to be resurrected. But be forewarned, the transition is upon us regardless
Sorry,
of our
guys.
willingness to accept it.
I gotta go. The storm's getting very bad now.
Possibly
I haven't set up my stream yet. I'll see later how it looks at the storm.
All right,
But I
dude. Possibly see you tonight. If not, we'll know why.
Yeah. Cheers, man. Bye.
Bless you, man.
Dude.
I've got a couple of more quotes, but I'd like to get one of you guys' take on the two that I just read.
I just noticed a number of things. He referred to the New Apostolic Reformation by name. He described it in very similar ways to how C. Peter Wagner did in his writings, although, Michael Brown and leaders are now trying to distance themselves from Wagner. Many of them are. But what he talked about, this new wineskin, this is common language in NAR, and going back even to the Latter Rain movement, which was its predecessor in the post-World War II era, NAR's predecessor. But this kind of idea that the church with its denominational structures cannot contain what God plans to do in the church when he pours out his new revelation and this kind of thing. And so denominations need to die, and in their place, apostles to rise up, and all of Christians need to come under their authority. And that's the new church structure that he's referring to there.
Doug, you have anything to add?
Almost like Catholicism, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like all Christianity is meant to be under Catholicism. Well, Catholics anyway, under the Vatican.
But wouldn't you think like if this were the case, it'd tell us in Scripture that it.
Exactly.
Yes,
I mean, it says Scripture there's got to be not the NWO as such, but everybody's got to come together. So there's got to be a one world religion. I mean, that's heading towards it. You know what I mean? It's all heading towards it.
That Michael Brown was aware of these statements by Mark Sharona and was counting on us not being able to recall them. I'm not sure why he would bring Mark Sharona up. One of the things I've noticed with Michael Brown is that oftentimes in his defense of an individual, usually a friend of his, he draws more critical fire and puts a target on the back of that friend because it turns out that he's mistaken and that critics have correctly identified NAR features among these individuals. And now it turns out that I think he's done the same for himself because in defending NAR, he has actually moved away from centrist, charismatic, and Pentecostal theology and practice. For a long time, he has regarded himself as a major leader, almost a statesman, within the charismatic and Pentecostal movements and as a spokesman for those movements. But I think that he's disqualified himself as a spokesman for the mainstream of those movements in his defense of NAR and exposed himself to the suspicion that he has NAR sympathies of his own and that his denials are actually reflective of a characteristic trend among NAR leaders to say, well, we don't even know what NAR is. And so it's not a real thing and you shouldn't call us that because it's pejorative. So I think that, and I would add that in the 2 years intervening since we met with Michael Brown, I've come under the stronger impression increasingly that he behaves rather like an apostle himself. And there are moments that this comes out, I think, during the roundtable and certainly during the discussion that we had following the roundtable. I felt...
No, the roundtable sounds like such an official thing, like the Knights of the Roundtable. Yeah, it's Michael Brown who does that, I think. And he has people round talking, and that he's the head of it.
Jada Pinkett Smith, done it with the red table.
Jada Pinkett Smith. What a woman, eh?
That he functioned as if he regarded himself as apostolic in relation to us and that we were in some sense under his apostolic authority. Now that's just anecdotal, but this is something that's been corroborated by other people we've spoken with in the last few months about their interactions with Michael Brown as well. And as it turns out, Michael Brown is regarded as an apostolic elder for a church in Texas. I would say maybe he's functioning as a kind of apostle at large because his own ministry is not in Texas and this isn't his home church, but he provides some form of leadership that is considered apostolic for that church. He's still a member of an apostolic council. He collaborates with NAR apostles on a regular basis in varieties of capacities. And as we discussed somewhat in the roundtable, he was on a podcast with Cheon, who he acknowledges in the roundtable clip that you showed a few moments ago.
Cheon was one of the guys, one of the apostles that anointed Todd Bentley an apostle. Chinese-looking guy.
Is more solidly in the NAR camp by our own standards. Yeah. But during that podcast, he was asked by Cheon to pray because he is a recognized apostle, and he asked him to declare and
recognized apostle. See what I mean?
Recognized by all the
by themselves, yeah, by the NAR movement, yeah. This guy doesn't believe it, obviously. He's not in it, recognized by themselves. That's all it is. It's crazy. Self-appointed. And then they appoint others. So it's just mental. It's just mental. You can't do that.
Decree a message in his prayer, and Brown's follow-up to that was not to correct Cheon and say, well, I'm not an apostle, and I don't believe that you've got the right theology about that. He just accepted the designation, and he prayed and indeed declared, using those words, things that appear to be prophetic about nations and about churches.
If I could be bold, I feel that God's called you to be an apostle. And
that's Cheon now. That's who he's talking about.
He's what? Claiming to be an apostle.
Yeah, he's one of the apostles that the one I was just saying, one of the apostles that anointed Todd Bentley an apostle. He's one like the original apostles, and he apparently said something about Brown here being an apostle, and Brown doesn't believe in the apostle thing, but he didn't correct him apparently. You know, he said he didn't tell him about. I don't believe in your theology of being apostolic.
And you're like an apostolic evangelist, and amazing the ministries that you have birthed, and the schools, and just your international work around the world. And you're a prolific author, and I feel you carry authority. And so I would love for you to pray and make some decrees and declarations for revival for those.
See, decrees and declarations. Nobody could decree except God.
Who are watching, who are hungry for God, for a visitation to come into their homes, and I'll join you, and Joy and I will join you in this prayer.
Amen. We declare seasons of revival, restoration coming, leading to God.
Revival doesn't happen.
Gospel-based moral and cultural revolution. We declare that the best is yet to come.
And I want to go back to something that you guys talked about in the roundtable. But before we do that, I've got two more quotes from Mark Sharona, if I can. I'd like to read. This one here: to embody the new apostolic Reformation is to follow.
Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I don't like how that Daniel Onke's doing that Masonic triangle thing.
I didn't even notice it, to be honest. Didn't even notice it.
Been doing it a lot, it's just when I think of myself, I never put my hands in that position. It's weird.
No, I get you.
Jesus pattern. For the church to become a world revolutionizing movement, we must ask the Father what is in his heart. And then finally, the Father's clarion call is clear. The discontent in our ranks affirms that we are entering an epoch of apostolic.
He is a Calvinist. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Carol Herring, Truth Seeker. Good to see you guys. Gematria, good to see it. Definition and apostle letter record from the lower court to the higher court. When a case is being appealed, it is called. All right, got you. Yeah, apostle, messenger, ambassador. Yeah. But they're calling themselves apostles of Christ.
Reformation, in which the church will be renewed, refreshed, and retooled for service. For those who are willing to let go of their institutional mindsets, his ways will become our own. Would either of you guys like to talk about or comment on those two quotes?
Well, just those quotes and many others, honestly, throughout in that entire book, The Prophetic Perspective. I think that's the name of it. You had put it up there earlier. Throughout that entire book, he refers to apostles and prophets as being offices.
Yeah.
That's really important. Now, Michael Brown said in his closing comments, his closing remarks to the roundtable, he said, if we would have just talked to Mark Sharona, we would have found out that's because the publisher of that book, Destiny Image, wanted him to use that word office. And normally he doesn't use that word office. He uses the word function. So that book, though, that came out in 2013, you can find another book by Mark Sharona called Dead Prophet Society. That came out in 2018. It wasn't published.
Dead Prophet Society. Wow.
By Destiny Image. And he refers to apostles and prophets as having offices there. But even if he didn't use the word office, even if he used the word function, that's the word Michael Brown used throughout the roundtable. This is a euphemism in NAR that's often used because we've been told actually by a well-known apostle in this movement that they've moved away from using the word office because they know now people are concerned about that language and they tie it to NAR. So now they're using other words like function. But if what they're describing is the same as a governing role in the church, whether they use the term office or function, that doesn't really matter. These are just...
It doesn't matter what wording they use. They're still claiming to be in power over all the Christians, isn't they? In office. In the office, standing as a prophet in the office of God, something like that.
It's unprovable, is it? How do you prove that God's not appointed them as apostles? It's like you can't.
Exactly.
It's very similar with Jehovah's Witnesses' anointed governing body. You're not allowed to question how someone knows whether they're anointed or not.
Exactly. And that's it. That's the problem. You never get to know.
These are just word games.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and Michael Brown said during the roundtable that Shona doesn't believe in governing apostles and prophets, but it's very clear in that book and throughout all of his ministry, not just that.
Hey, look, good to see you, bro.
Hello.
That one book. It wasn't a gotcha moment, like Michael Brown would try to say that we just, we did gotcha moments. The things that we're citing and referring to are features of these people's entire ministries, not just like they use the word once in one book or something like that.
Yeah.
I would add that if an author is not willing to stand by the work that's published under his name, then he should find a different publisher. And I would encourage, in fact, I would say that Destiny Image is practically the publishing arm for so many NAR leaders and figures in the movement. And I would caution viewers about just indiscriminately buying and reading books that are published by a publisher like Destiny Image. Because it is a hallmark of their publishing ministry and their publishing platform to feature very prominent figures in the New Apostolic Reformation. And that would include Mark Sharona. Sharona certainly has the option of insisting as an author on using language that he himself accepts and refusing to use language that he knows is going to cause controversy if he doesn't believe it. So I'm not moved by Michael Brown's appeal that this was just an authorial submission to a publisher's imperialistic demand. And as Holly said, it comes out in his other writings, the use of the term office. And it really, in effect, doesn't matter whether the term office is used, as long as what goes by the what is indicated by whatever term they use is the same thing. If it means that an individual who functions in an apostolic way is governing in the church, you don't have to call it an office. That's not our concern so much as is the function that they ascribe to the apostles in question.
Yeah.
It's clear, Mark Sharona's in the same book, it's clear that the apostles give critical new revelation for the church.
Mm-hmm.
In there, he refers that the foundation of the church will decay.
But see, I'm going to have to just get to the end of this, then finish, because I'm feeling like I'm going to pass out, and Vicky's feeling ill as well.
I'm feeling hungry.
I feel hungry, but I just don't want anything. It feels like I don't want anything to pass my mouth. My stomach's hungry, my mouth isn't. You know what I mean? She keeps getting cramps in her arm now, but she feels sick. I feel really bad. It's really weird.
I think you're asleep. She's quiet.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's how ill she is. She's not asleep. She's just back there. She's got the subtitles on to Coronation Street and that. And I just had to say she feels really sick. And at the same time, as I was going to say, I'm sitting here feeling like I'm going to pass out. It's weird. I'll just get to the end of this. I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to let it play.
Without the revelation of...
Jim, I'll play some of your observations next stream tomorrow, because I'll do a stream tomorrow.
Of these leaders. So the book is actually quite extreme. And it's what it says that apostles and prophets do. So again, it's mystifying to me that Michael Brown would have attempted to, defend Mark Sharona as someone who has not.
I've seen it, Sandro. I showed about 2 minutes of it. I said congrats to him on it. I think he's got 51 now.
NAR during this roundtable, when Mark Sharona uses the label New Apostolic Reformation by name.
Nice one, Jim.
He defines it as C. Peter Wagner does, essentially, and he promotes.
Yeah, Wagner was mentioned there. There you go.
Those very extreme teachings about the extraordinary authority and new revelation that is being given by apostles and prophets in his books.
Yeah, I wonder if Michael Brown's NAR friends really continue to regard him as the dragon slayer that they wished he would be, if every attempt to defend them turns into another basis for alleging that they are charging them with the claim that they are NAR.
Yeah. I'm watching this thing. I'm thinking to myself as Michael Brown's trying to defend these guys. I'm thinking rather than read their material, he's just kind of taking their word for it, because throughout this discussion, he kept saying, well, I've talked to them. They don't believe this. This is, this is not what they believe. But you guys have documented this and documented evidence in your book, Counterfeit Kingdom, that there is so much documentation of these guys saying, Mark Sharona and others saying things like this, that it just boggles my mind that Dr. Brown doesn't acknowledge that.
He put himself forward as someone who's refuting the critics of NAR, but he doesn't even read their books or listen to their sermons. I don't understand that.
All right, let's move on to Lance Wall now, because Dr. Brown also had some things to say about Lance Wall. Now, let me show you a clip that I took from the discussion, if I can.
Or, like when I've gone to Joe Matera, he goes, that's a valid point. We need to address that. I've said that in the past. He made an adjustment about the so-called, dominion mandate from Genesis 1, where God tells Adam, subdue the earth and rule over it. And now that's realized through the Great Commission. For example, I asked Lance Wall now, do you believe the church is called to take over society? He goes, no, absolutely not. Christ rules. We influence by persuasion. We have dominion over the devil. We don't have dominion over people. So his thing, seven mountains, in his mind, that's another kind of mythological thing, that there's the Seven Mountains movement. They
do teach that apostles are the ones that are authorized to rise to the top of the mountains to cast out the territorial.
I think, sorry, it's the last thing I'll say. Seven Mountains movement is, I think, where they believe they should bring things of the prophecies of Revelation. They think they should be intentionally bringing it to come to pass. You know what I mean? They think that they should be doing stuff just to intentionally make it happen. Is my believing of it, and it's something to do with Seven Mountains mandate. I don't understand it all, but I think that's the gist of it.
That's like forcing prophecy, though, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, exactly that.
Spirits, Chris Vallotton teaches that. Even in the Rediscover Bethel series, he affirms that he believes that territorial spirits need to be cast out over these mountains.
Apostles do it, right? So that's
they
where
say it's just influence, but in their teachings, it's not just influence. It's apostles at the top, and they must cast out territorial spirits.
So does Lance teach that, in your view?
I would have to do more look.
Because I asked him directly about that. In fact, I know we've been going for a while, but let me just, when I asked him his view about territorial spirits, do we need to deal with territorial spirits? He said, this is too broad a question to answer in brief. It seems to me that the spiritual forces we encounter at the gates of influence are distinct from territorial spirits that operate in a geographic area. Understood this way, the specific strongman over New York City is different from the one working, say, in the greed in Wall Street or the agenda being pushed by artists on Broadway. I'm proposing that there are spirits over the geography of Boston, for example, that are different than the ones operating in the academics at Harvard. One is the house or system or organization, and the other over a geographic location. So the question is, how do you deal with them? As I understand his teaching is, well, you have influence as the church. In other words, you drive.
He's avoiding the language of territorial spirits when he talks about those things. I don't know if he wants to distance himself in that statement from the use of that language, but then what he goes on to describe is tantamount to the same thing.
All right. Love to get your take on that clip.
Well, one thing I would say is Lance Wallnau clearly promotes dominionism. He promotes governing apostles, territorial spirits, and he links them to the Seven Mountain Mandate. And he does that in his books, Invading Babylon. Mm-hmm. You also see God's Chaos Code. These were covers that were flashed on the screen when I pointed this out during my closing remarks in the roundtable. And so people can go see for themselves those teachings. But as Doug pointed out, Lance Wallnau seemed to be, he wasn't using the term territorial spirits, but it doesn't mean that he wasn't promoting what was tantamount to the same thing just because he was avoiding that particular language. Again, I think what we see over and over again throughout the roundtable with Michael Brown and just with NAR leaders in general is they play a lot of word games where, is it a function or is it an office? Is it territorial spirit? Or are we going to call it something else? But it's basically the same thing. Is it a decree or a declaration? But when the theology behind these things and the teachings behind these things is the same, it doesn't really matter if you switch the wording, the words.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you read Invading Babylon, and that's the take that you're going to get. He wrote that book with Bill Johnson. I think Patricia King Cheon contributed as well. There are several leaders in NAR that actually contributed to that book. But how about you, Doug? Anything you want to add to that?
I think that people watching this might be wondering why, if such bizarre views are actually endorsed by leaders like this, are they denying that they're part of NAR? Why wouldn't they want people to know that if that's what they're teaching? You would think that a teacher would want to stand up and be.
Yes, it's true. If they coined the term NAR, and why would they deny being part of it if that's what they profess to be? If that's their teachings and that's what they're proud of and they go by. You wouldn't be bothered about being associated with the term NAR, would you? You wouldn't be denying it. Sorry.
Be visible, especially if he was an apostle or she is an apostle. The Apostle Paul was determined to defend his apostleship to those who were skeptical. And it was important for him to exercise the authority that he did for his generation, that he be able to establish on strong evidence that he was himself one of the apostles among the contemporaries who were apostles of Jesus and had walked with Jesus during Jesus' time. These apostles seem to be very reluctant to defend their apostleship. And one of the things that I encourage people to do when they meet someone like Bill Johnson or anybody else who is regarded as an apostle, to ask them on what basis are we to believe that you are an apostle? What are your credentials as an apostle? It's amazing that on the one hand, they will have such extreme views about things, and then when they're exposed, they run for cover. Why is that? And one thing I think is going on here is this post-denominational aspect of the movement that came up in some of the quotes or even comments by Brown there. And that is that they see the movement as taking over the church so that denominations subside and fade away. They disappear altogether. And for that to happen, they've got to build bridges with people in the denominations and build a spirit of rapport so that denominational leaders and churches will be more amenable.
Unity, bringing together of everybody. You know what I mean? I know they're meant to be part of the same religion, but it's still a step towards unifying everybody.
To this kind of coalition that the New Apostolic Reformation is seeking to forge. And so, yes, they want their distinctive teachings to be known, but they talk about them most openly only amongst themselves and amongst lay people that are open to it and drawn to it. And then in a more public venue, they try to diminish the strong contrast between their movement and the denominational movements that came out of the Protestant Reformation in the 17th century.
Yeah. I've got a quote that I'd like to read from Invading Babylon, if that's okay. And this is from Lance Wallnau's, the chapter that Lance Wallnau wrote on the Seven Mountain Mandate. But this is what it says. The business of shifting culture or transforming nations does not require a majority of conversions. We make a mistake when we focus on winning a harvest in order to shape a culture. If we do not need more conversions to shift a culture, what do we need? We need more disciples in the right places, the high places. Minorities of people can shape the agenda if properly aligned and deployed. And if you watch Lance Wallnau's videos, he talks about the high places an awful lot and how, Christians need to fast and pray, and they got to remove the territorial spirits and things like that.
I want you to say this with me. We need to cast out some devils. I didn't hear that. We need to cast out some devils. Now, devils are in people, but devils can be in high places. Now, here's a weird thing in the Bible. They would always have to cast down, they'd tear down. If a king was to be called a good king, he had to take down the high places. I don't want to push the envelope too far, but I'm gonna go this far. We've got devils that get a hold of people and bring the people to occupy the places. So what happens is, I'm sorry to say, when the church was taught that it was separating itself from the world, and we just had our holy huddles, our habitation, our meetings, that was great as long as democracy was safe. But those high places in media got taken over by lying spirits. The high places in politics are getting taken over by totalitarian, controlling, I hate Jesus spirits. Education has been taken over by unbeliever intellectual spirits. Now, what are you going to do, Christian, when you've allowed the high places that God gave to the nation to be occupied by the heathen? Well, then you're going to have paganized culture persecuting Christian culture. Let me say this again because it's getting real quiet here. Jesus anointed the disciples with the power to cast out devils. When you're dealing with a nicotine devil in a person, it's a relatively simple thing. When you're dealing with a principality over a high place, it's a big deal. One person that came to Jesus, the disciples couldn't cast the spirit out, and Jesus he said the forensic analysis of Dr. Jesus was, I know this condition. This kind doesn't come out except by prayer and fasting. In other words, there's certain kinds of situations that don't change unless the prayer and the fasting happens.
But that kind of language is throughout this book, and even in the chapter that Bill Johnson wrote, the entire thing seems to be almost the apostles and prophets leading and taking, and then going in and taking over the culture. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, in that book, actually in the chapter Lance Wallnau wrote, the Seven Mountain Mandate is described as a strategy for taking over the world. It's clearly dominionistic. And Lance Wallnau clearly promotes that despite what Michael Brown claims during the roundtable.
All right.
Well, note too, that it virtually, what that statement virtually implies is that you set aside the gospel concern for conversions, people coming to personal faith in Jesus Christ, to just transforming culture with a minority of people already who believe. Well, how do you justify that? That's not
right.
That's not gospel teaching. That's a substitution of a social, political.
How much is left of this, PJ? PJ.
Hello. Hey, look at what you're saying.
PJ.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Talking. How much is left?
Thank you for.
Hey, there's
my video.
no problem, Luca. There's 6 minutes left, Michael.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm finishing. All right, nice one, Luca. Bless you, man.
Cultural agenda for the gospel, which should be about winning the hearts and minds of people and bringing them to faith in Jesus Christ. Paul calls it the ministry of reconciliation, not of cultural takeover. And so that is a very revealing statement. And I find it striking that he would go so far as to say that we're not really focused on conversions. Now, what does it imply? Well, take the political situation, for example. We're facing an election in this country, the United States here, that's just around the corner. And a lot of people are mobilizing, seeking to mobilize Christians to mount a virtual takeover to change the culture. And they're going to do it politically. And you can do that with a minority, because oftentimes it is a minority that votes. And so as long as you have enough of an activist minority, you can change culture. That's true. But that's not the mandate that Jesus left us when he said, go and make disciples of all people. So that's a very interesting take. And it reminds me of how often the gospel of Jesus' own gospel message, which is one of repentance and personal faith in him, is lost among leaders in the New Apostolic Reformation, because they have these other goals of dominionism and transformation of culture.
Yeah, the gospel of NAR is a gospel of taking dominion. So the gospel has actually been redefined in NAR. They would say it includes conversions, personal conversions, but it goes beyond that. And that the Great Commission is a commission that the church is supposed to make disciples of nations, not just individuals within those nations, but to take over nations.
All right, guys, I know our time is just about up. We've been recording now for about an hour, but one final question. What should Christians look for as warning signs that NAR teachings are infiltrating their church?
So they can look for NAR teachings, NAR practices, and NAR terminology. So teachings, anything, a lot of emphasis on apostles and prophets. The term fivefold ministry is a NAR doctrine. That means that apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers are supposed to govern the church. So that's a common NAR doctrine to look for. Reference to, apostles governing the church, prophets governing the church, having emphasis. Even, it's not typical for other Christians today outside of NAR to talk that much about apostles, and if they do, they're typically referring to maybe missionaries or church planners, maybe in like Pentecostal circles. But if there's a heavy emphasis on talking about present day apostles, that's always a clue. Then practices, things like practicing strategic level spiritual warfare, like we just talked about, where Christians are trying to cast out territorial spirits that they believe are ruling over geographical regions or societal institutions. So they'll often engage in practices like prayer walking and doing prophetic acts at geographical locations to engage in this spiritual warfare. And I'm not saying all prayer walking is NAR, but it's often associated with NAR because they believe that you have to go to a geographical region and command territorial spirits to leave that region. If supernatural schools of ministry, where people are told that they can learn to become miracle workers, can learn to prophesy or heal the sick or raise the dead. These are commonly associated with NAR. The idea that you can be activated in miraculous gifts. So once you start hearing this kind of terminology, like terminology of activation, terminology like apostolic or prophetic, listen for the terminology in a church to start changing. People sometimes might notice that first, that the terminology is changing, new terms are coming in they're not quite familiar with, and that can be clues to look for as well. And then reference to NAR leaders, like if a church is using books or materials or resources by Bill Johnson or Bethel Church in Reading or Chris Valentin or other NAR leaders. In the past, I would have said Mike Bickle at the International House of Prayer, although we know what happened there recently and how that organization imploded. But there's a lot of other NAR churches that are well known out there, like Jesus Culture in Sacramento, Gateway Church, also, which has recently been having problems that many may know about because of revelations that have come out about its leader. But that's a well-known, influential NAR church. So if people, see reference to these well-known NAR churches or organizations, or these well-known apostles and prophets, that's something to be on guard for as well.
Guys, thank.
As if finding a church weren't hard enough now, I've got to worry about NAR churches.
I know, dude. It's just crazy, isn't it? But I mean, I think it incorporates a lot of stuff. The NAR, though, it's widespread. It's widespread. I think people that wouldn't want to be associated with NAR are probably doing NAR stuff. But this seven mandate is just crazy, bringing territorial spirits over nations and stuff like that. It's just mental. I think that's it done. That's it done. I might as well just finish it there. That's it done. That's him just saying bye. Hey, Cookie, we're just finished, dude. We're just finished.
Oh.
How you doing?
Better late than never. How you going, Ryan?
Good to see you, though.
Good, just woke up. Sorry about that.
It's all right, dude. We're just finished anyway. I haven't been feeling very well, so I didn't do the Luca thing. We just did a watch party. I ended up talking more than I wanted to, as usual. But yeah, it's just finished. I've got to go to the shop and get some painkillers and that for Vicky. Then I've got to chill for a couple of hours before flight is on because I feel like crap. But guys, bless you for being in chat. And nice to meet you.
Night off, man. To be honest.
Well, yeah, maybe we should.
I'll start feeling rough when it gets to night time.
Definitely. It's something, man. It's like I said, it's probably in the skies, man. Crazy. Right, thank you, YouTube chat. Bless you all for coming. And nice one in the panel, yeah. Nice one, Cookie Monster, for your input today. It's been a pleasure. Love you, man.
No worries.
Oh, good. I'll see you tonight, dude, anyway. Anyway, Here the Sun Sets Free is free indeed.
God bless everyone.